You ever notice how some people drain the life right out of you? You walk away from a conversation feeling smaller, weaker, and questioning your worth. Those aren't just difficult people, those are toxic people. And the truth is, you don't have to fight them, fix them, or explain yourself to them. You just have to learn how to walk away quietly, powerfully, and without losing your peace. See, strength isn't about reacting. It's not about shouting back or proving your point. Real strength is restraint. It's the discipline to protect your energy and the wisdom to know when silence speaks louder than confrontation. The Stoics mastered this. They understood that peace isn't found in control, it's found in letting go. So today, I'm going to share with you 4 Stoic ways to walk away from toxic people silently, not with anger, not with resentment, but with calm power. Because when you stop feeding toxicity, you starve it. And when you rise above it, you reclaim your life, your energy, and your inner freedom. Silence is one of the most underestimated powers we possess. In a world where everyone is quick to react, to defend, to explain, choosing silence takes a level of strength most people will never understand. It's not weakness and it's not avoidance. It's mastery over your emotions, your impulses, and your peace. When you respond to toxicity with silence, you shift the balance of power instantly. Because toxic people thrive on reaction. They feed on chaos, on pulling you into their storm, on making you lose control so they can feel powerful. But when you stay quiet, when you refuse to engage, you starve that energy completely. Your silence doesn't just protect your peace, it disarms theirs. Imagine someone trying to provoke you, throwing words that are meant to hurt, manipulate, or pull you in. The old version of you might argue, explain, or try to make them understand your side. But that's the trap. You can't reason with someone who benefits from misunderstanding you. You can't win a game that's designed to drain you. That's why silence is so effective. It's not about ignoring them. It's about refusing to play. You step back and let their chaos echo without a response, and over time it loses its power. The Stoics taught that you cannot control what others say or do, only how you respond. Your silence is that control in action. It's the decision to protect your emotional state rather than feed someone else's dysfunction. Think about how much energy we waste trying to correct people's false perceptions, justify our actions, or prove our worth. Every word you speak in defense gives them another opportunity to twist your truth. But silence gives them nothing to work with. It's like holding up a mirror to their behavior and letting them see themselves clearly for the first time. Silence also forces you to slow down and think. When you don't react immediately, you create space, and in that space, clarity lives. You see the situation for what it really is, not what your emotions are trying to make it. You begin to recognize patterns, manipulations, and emotional triggers that once had power over you. You start realizing that not everyone deserves an explanation, and not every attack requires a response. That's not arrogance, that's emotional maturity. It's understanding that your peace is too valuable to hand over to people who haven't earned access to it. There's also a quiet confidence in silence. You're not proving yourself, you're not defending your integrity, you're standing firm in it. You know who you are, and you no longer need validation from those who thrive on conflict. That calmness can be unsettling to people who rely on chaos because they can't manipulate what they can't provoke. Your silence becomes a wall they can't climb, a mirror they can't control. It's power without aggression, strength without noise. In moments of conflict, silence is also a test not of how much you can endure, but of how deeply you know your worth. When you stop responding to disrespect, you're teaching others how to treat you. You're showing them that your peace isn't negotiable. Silence tells them you've outgrown the need for their approval and the habit of defending yourself, and once you reach that level of calm, nothing they say can touch you. You stop being reactive and start being selective about your energy, your conversations, and your circle. Choosing silence isn't easy, especially when you've been conditioned to fight back or explain yourself. But every time you do it, you strengthen your self-control. You start to notice how light you feel when you no longer carry other people's projections. You learn that silence isn't about shutting down, it's about rising above. Because sometimes the loudest statement you can ever make is saying nothing at all. Detachment is one of the most powerful acts of emotional intelligence you can master. It's not about being cold or uncaring, it's about learning to see things clearly, without letting your emotions distort your perspective. When you detach emotionally from toxic people, you begin to understand that their behavior is never truly about you. It's a reflection of their inner world, their pain, their insecurities, and the chaos they carry inside. You just happen to be standing close enough for them to project it onto. The moment you stop personalizing their behavior, you take away their ability to control your emotions. Toxic people often thrive on getting a reaction out of you. They want to know they can affect your mood, your confidence, your peace. When you react emotionally, you hand them that control. But when you detach, you shift from being a participant in their drama to an observer of it. You start to see the patterns, the guilt trips, the manipulation, the subtle digs, the way they twist words to make you question yourself. And once you see those patterns, you can no longer be trapped by them. Detachment gives you that freedom, the ability to witness their behavior without absorbing it. Emotional detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care more about your mental health than someone else's approval. It's the decision to protect your peace by refusing to carry what doesn't belong to you. When someone speaks to you with disrespect or tries to provoke guilt, instead of reacting, you can pause and remind yourself, this is not mine. Their words, their anger, their opinions, none of it defines you. You learn to let their energy pass through you without sticking. It's like standing in a storm, but knowing it can't touch you because you're grounded. The Stoics believed that suffering comes not from events themselves, but from our judgments about them. The same principle applies to people. You suffer when you take their toxicity personally, when you internalize their negativity as truth. But the moment you separate who you are from how they behave, you take back your power. You start to see that your worth isn't determined by how others treat you, it's determined by how you treat yourself in response. That's emotional detachment at its core, staying rooted in your own values no matter what chaos is happening around you. Detachment also teaches you emotional neutrality. You stop labeling everything as good or bad, fair or unfair, and start focusing on what you can control. You can't make someone change. You can't make them respect you, love you, or see your side, but you can control how much access they have to your mind and heart. You can choose to observe instead of absorb, to step back instead of step in. That space you create between yourself and their behavior is where your power grows. It's where clarity lives. It's where peace begins. When you truly detach, you no longer need to win arguments or prove your worth. You no longer get pulled into emotional battles that go nowhere. Instead, you watch, understand, and respond with calmness or not at all. You realize that your silence, your composure, and your distance speak louder than any defense ever could. You learn that your energy is sacred and not everyone deserves access to it. You begin to live from a place of calm observation rather than constant reaction, and in doing so, you build a strength that no amount of toxicity can break. Detachment isn't a wall, it's a filter. It's not about shutting people out. It's about letting in only what's healthy, balanced, and aligned with your peace. It's about seeing people clearly, not as you wish they were, but as they truly are, and choosing not to be pulled into their emotional storms. Because once you master detachment, no one's chaos can ever drown your calm again. Setting boundaries without apology is one of the purest forms of self-respect. It means you've reached a point in your life where you understand that peace is not negotiable. Boundaries are not walls meant to isolate you from the world. They are filters that protect your time, energy, and emotional well-being. They define what is acceptable in your life and what is not. When you set boundaries, you're not being harsh or selfish, you're being clear. And clarity is power. It sends a message that you value yourself enough not to tolerate anything that diminishes your spirit or disturbs your inner peace. Toxic people will always test your boundaries. They will push, manipulate, and guilt, trip you into making exceptions because that's how they maintain control. They'll say you've changed, that you're being difficult, that you're cold or distant, but the truth is, you're not being unkind, you're being self-aware. You've learned that protecting your energy is more important than keeping everyone happy. When you set a boundary and hold it, you're training others on how to treat you. You're teaching them that access to you is earned through respect, not taken through manipulation. Many people struggle to set boundaries because they fear rejection or judgment. They think saying no makes them unkind, but saying yes to everything is how you lose yourself. Boundaries are not a rejection of others, they are an affirmation of you. They say, I respect myself enough to decide what I allow into my life. And when you stop apologizing for that, you begin to live in alignment with your values instead of other people's expectations. You no longer seek permission to protect your peace. You understand it's your responsibility to do so. The Stoics believed that control begins within. You cannot change how others behave, but you can control what you tolerate. Setting boundaries is that philosophy in action. It's the ability to say, this behavior doesn't align with who I am or what I need, and walk away without guilt. Every time you reinforce a boundary, you strengthen your self-trust. You prove to yourself that you will no longer abandon your peace to make someone else comfortable. You stop betraying yourself for connection, and you start choosing yourself instead. That's when true confidence begins to grow, not the loud, external kind, but the quiet, internal kind that doesn't need validation. When you set boundaries, you will notice who respects you and who is benefiting from your lack of them. Some people will adjust, others will leave, let them. The ones who truly value you will respect your limits because they understand that boundaries make relationships healthier, not colder. They create mutual respect, honesty, and trust. But the ones who resist them reveal their true intentions. Boundaries expose who was in your life for control and who was there for connection. That truth may sting, but it's necessary for your growth. Boundaries are not just about saying no, they're also about saying yes, yes to peace, yes to balance, yes to protecting your emotional space. It's about knowing when to step back, when to disengage, and when to walk away. It's choosing not to be available for disrespect, drama, or emotional chaos. You're not required to explain or justify those choices. People who respect you won't need an explanation, and those who demand one won't accept it anyway. Learning to set boundaries without apology is a lifelong practice, but with every act of clarity, you reclaim a part of yourself that was lost to people, pleasing, or fear. You stop seeking peace through others and start generating it from within. Because when you stop apologizing for protecting your energy, you stop giving others permission to drain it, and that is where your power truly begins, not in control, not in confrontation, but in calm, confident clarity. Choosing dignity over reaction is the mark of true inner strength. It means understanding that not every battle deserves your energy, not every insult requires a response, and not every situation needs you to prove your worth. When someone tries to provoke you, your initial instinct may be to defend yourself, to react, to show them they can't treat you that way. But the moment you react emotionally, you hand over your power. Dignity, on the other hand, is the quiet refusal to be dragged down to someone else's level. It's the ability to stay calm in the face of chaos and to choose self-respect over self-justification. Toxic people want to see you lose control. They thrive on seeing you flustered, angry, or defensive because it makes them feel powerful. They want to know that they can pull you into their emotional mess. But when you respond with composure, when you keep your tone steady, your posture upright, and your energy grounded, you communicate something much stronger than words ever could. You show that you are not easily shaken. You show that their behavior cannot touch your peace. That composure is your armor. It protects you from being manipulated by emotion and keeps you focused on what truly matters, your integrity. Dignity is not silence born from fear. It's silence born from self-control. It's not about pretending things don't hurt. It's about choosing not to let pain dictate your behavior. When you choose dignity, you are saying, I see what you're trying to do, but I will not participate. You stop reacting to every comment, every provocation, every attempt to pull you into drama. Instead, you rise above it. That's not weakness, it's wisdom. Because strength is not always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, steady, and unbothered. There's a power in holding your composure when others expect you to fall apart. It confuses those who rely on emotional chaos to feel in control. When you refuse to argue or retaliate, you take away their weapon. They have nothing left to feed on. Your calmness becomes a mirror that reflects their own instability back to them. It forces them to face themselves, and that's something most toxic people can't handle. Your dignity, therefore, becomes not just a defense, it becomes a silent statement that speaks volumes. You cannot control me. You cannot define me. You cannot break me. The Stoics often spoke about emotional discipline, the ability to remain centered no matter what happens around you. That's what choosing dignity is. It's a practice of staying true to yourself no matter how others behave. It means you value your peace over being right, your integrity over ego, and your growth over validation. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop reacting to opinions that are rooted in someone else's insecurity. Instead, you hold your ground with calm confidence, knowing that your silence and poise carry more weight than any outburst ever could. There will be moments when people will mistake your calmness for weakness. Let them. Your dignity doesn't need their recognition. It stands on its own. Those who truly understand strength will see it. Those who don't were never meant to walk beside you. You don't owe anyone an emotional reaction to prove you care, and you don't need to lower your standards to match someone's chaos. Every time you choose dignity, you're reminding yourself that you've evolved, that your peace matters more than being understood by those who refuse to listen. Choosing dignity over reaction isn't about winning, it's about protecting your inner stability. It's about walking away knowing you remained grounded in your truth. It's understanding that your energy is precious and you won't spend it trying to prove your worth to people who can't see it. You reclaim your strength not by shouting, but by standing tall, calm, and confident in who you are. Because real power isn't found in reacting, it's found in rising. Walking away with grace is one of the most powerful things you can ever learn to do. It's the moment you decide that your peace is worth more than any argument, explanation, or attempt to be understood. It's not about proving that you're right or showing that you're stronger. It's about knowing that your energy is sacred, and you're no longer willing to waste it on people or situations that drain you. Walking away gracefully doesn't mean you don't care. It means you've learned that some battles are not worth fighting, and that sometimes silence and distance speak louder than words ever could. There's a quiet strength in choosing to let go without resentment. Most people believe walking away means defeat, but it's the opposite. It's self-mastery. It takes tremendous courage to release something toxic, especially when your heart still wants to hold on. But grace is about choosing peace over chaos, clarity over confusion, and dignity over drama. It's saying, I deserve better, and actually meaning it. You stop chasing closure from people who can't give it. You stop needing validation from those who thrive on control. Instead, you find your closure in your calm, in knowing that you handled yourself with integrity even when others didn't. When you walk away with grace, you refuse to match someone's disrespect with more disrespect. You don't throw stones, you don't retaliate, you don't gossip to prove your side. You simply remove yourself from what's unhealthy. That kind of self-restraint is power. Because reacting is easy, anyone can do that. But responding with calm detachment, with poise, with discipline, that's strength. It shows you've outgrown the need to explain yourself to people who don't want to understand. It shows you've reached a place in life where peace matters more than being right. Graceful walking away is also about self-trust. It's knowing that you don't have to hold on to what's familiar just because you're afraid of being alone. You trust that by letting go of what's toxic, you create space for what's healthy. You trust that peace will fill the silence once the noise is gone. That's something the Stoics understood deeply, that life is about control over yourself, not over others. You can't control what people say or do, but you can control whether you stay or go. And when you walk away with grace, you're controlling the only thing that truly belongs to you, your energy. Sometimes walking away means no dramatic ending, no final words, no confrontation. Just distance, just quiet, just peace. It's not about slamming doors, it's about closing them softly and moving forward without bitterness, because grace isn't loud, it's calm, confident, and self-assured. It's choosing to leave situations that make you question your worth and walking towards spaces that remind you of it. It's not revenge, it's release. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing peace, you owe it to yourself to protect it. The world will often tell you that strength is found in standing your ground and fighting back. But the truth is, sometimes strength is found in stepping away and letting things be. You can still wish someone well while moving on without them. You can still have compassion without staying connected. That's the balance of grace, to walk away without hate, without anger, and without the need to make someone else the villain. You simply accept that not everyone is meant to walk with you on your journey, and that's okay. Walking away with grace doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise enough to know your limits. It means you've stopped chasing peace in places that only create pain. It means you're finally putting yourself first, not out of ego, but out of self-love. And once you master that, no one can shake your peace again, because when you walk away gracefully, you don't lose anything of value. You simply return to yourself stronger, calmer, and completely free.